today was our first day of our second week of rehearsals. We did a full read-through. A bunch of production team members were there. The head costume designer, the assistant costume designer, the head set designer, assistant set designer, the head of tech. I think is that it there, his title? Head of all tech and production. I think he's production manager, but all the tech people were there as well. The writer, Paul, was there. So we did a full read-through, full sing-through, and then we had a picnic outside, which was a lot of fun, and as a cast, and Michelle, who's playing Kay, her sister brought their dog, and it was awesome. We spent the rest of the afternoon blocking out the first half of the opening number and first couple scenes, which was a lot of fun and really exciting. And that was a full day, and then right after that, my voice is a little tired because right after that I went off to assistant direct. I teach acting classes to kids at a performance studio, acting studio, and my boss, who's directing the children's production of Mary Poppins Jr., is out of town. She's in Toronto, working tech for a show. So I was filling in, assistant directing, and helping clean up a couple scenes. We worked on It's a Jolly Holiday with Mary, so we spent the last 2 hours just reblocking and cleaning up, and it's a double cast, so we worked with those two casts. And now I'm gonna spend my evening going over lines, trying to memorize some stuff, go over notes, and then rest my voice a bit as well, because it needs some rest. And then tomorrow we get right back into all the blocking and acting and fun stuff. I'm so tired. Another rehearsal down today was focused a lot on the dancing of the show. In the first couple numbers, we seem to be going in like chronological order of like songs. Next two numbers are Publisher of Paris and Tickle Me, and those are very dance heavy. And Publisher of Paris, I did like a whole tap number in it, and Tickle Me, there's a whole like dancey jazz number. And now I'm just on my way to the campus bookstore because I'm taking 2 English courses this summer for summer school, and I have to go buy a stack of books. That's pretty tall for all the reading I need to do over the next couple weeks, well, next couple months. This isn't even all of them. I have to buy 4 more books they didn't have in stock, and then 2 of those books I didn't even buy because I already owned them. This morning I'm going in for my costume fitting bright and early before rehearsal starts. Just going in to make sure that the suit they ordered for McAlmon fits me and all that kind of stuff. I gotta pick up my rehearsal shoes, and I also gotta show them it smells bad here. Show the costume designer and assistant costume designer that I have tap shoes and I'll be using them for the first 2 scenes. Yesterday I talked about picking up a bunch of books from the bookstore for English courses I'm taking. I'm taking children's literature and Canadian literature online this summer. That's what I'm also gonna be spending my summer doing. Trying to fit it in on like weekends and after rehearsals during Goodbye Paris, and then I'll have a little more time when we wrap up in June. But right now we do a costume fitting, and then we go into rehearsal where we are continuing to block out more of Act 1, more dancing, more dancing, more singing, and more acting and all that fun stuff. of this week has been spent learning choreo. We just choreographed all of Gertrude's Salon, which was a lot of fun. There's also been a lot of script changes too, which is like expected. It's because it's a workshop. I haven't really addressed what a workshop is, but essentially it's what it sounds like. It's when writers take their plays, their musicals, their whatever, we'll just use a broad title of plays. They take their plays and they workshop them. They work them in different ways to develop new drafts, to see what works, to see what doesn't work. Oftentimes there'll be different types of workshops. There's like a reading through workshop, there's a sing through workshop. With musicals, there's like a concert version of the workshop. And then we're doing a staged workshop where we're actually finally putting the show on its feet for the first time with blocking and choreography and actor bodies and all this kind of stuff, with costume, with set and lighting and all that kind of fun stuff. So the production I'm a part of right now, this is a staged workshop of Goodbye Paris. This is the first time it's been staged. There was a concert version a couple of years back, and that's what this whole thing has been. So I guess to start, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, my name is Paul Ledoux. I'm a playwright, and mostly I write musicals.
How did you get started as a writer?
I started on a bet.
Yeah?
Yeah. So I was living in Montreal. I had dropped out of art school. I went to Nova Scotia College of Art and Design, and back then it was like a performance art school, right? And but you weren't allowed to have stories or anything like that. You know, your performance would be walking into a brick wall until you bled. And that would be a good
like
performance.
A performance art.
Yes,
yeah.
Performance art, yes.
Yeah.
So I got really fed up with it and I quit. And I dropped out and I moved to Montreal. And I was living down on the plateau in a $50 a month apartment and trying to write a novel. And I was seeing a girl who was an actress, lucky me. And there was a drama contest coming up, this thing called the Quebec Drama Festival. And she bet me $5 that I couldn't write a play. And so over the weekend I did. And we submitted it into the festival, and it got into the festival. So I ended up having to direct this thing and produce it and write it. And we did this and put it in the festival, and you know, I was dirt poor, and we won all the prizes. We won, you know, best play and best script, and they gave me about $1,000. And the guy who was the adjudicator of the festival is a fellow named Bob White, who's now the head of development at Stratford, and used to run Factory Theatre in Toronto and then Alberta Theatre Projects for a long time. So he was the adjudicator who gave me the prizes, and 4 months later, the two of us were running a theater company together.
I'm trying to see if I can just quickly. Here, I know what's
working.
Okay. Super whitewashed.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so much better.
Yes.
That is so much better. Hemingway and K or Hemingway, he comes back into my life and blows my life away. I don't know what to do, I don't know what to say. I think I'll have another to chase the hurt away.
It's funny, I didn't start writing musicals right away, and then I did a show called The Dada Show, and that was the first one that was really a musical, right? And it was about Dada in actually the same period as
Dadaism kind of?
Yeah. So it was Zurich in 1917, right? And
Okay.
so it's Tristan Tzara and all those guys. And it was sort of like a review, right? I've always been more interested in pop music than I have been in musical theater, right?
Yeah.
You know, at that time there was a whole bunch of kind of Canadian kitchen sink plays, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody was on the farm trying to save the family farm and all that shit, right? And
especially Tarragon. Tarragon really I've read many of plays all about that. Like it was called The Farmhouse or something.
Yeah.
The Farm. Yeah, I've read many plays.
And anyway, so I thought that was pretty stupid. So I wrote a comedy that was like about a totally dysfunctional family in that situation, right? And it was very broad comedy, but it was a musical. Right, so it was country music. One of my roommates was a singer who was doing a TV show in Halifax, and she came home one day from work, and I was watching the Roller News on TV, right? And what comes up is, today is the 25th anniversary of the death of Judy Garland or something like that, right? And I said, yeah, we should do a Judy Garland show. And so we did. And then that was a big hit. And it toured the country and played in the NEC, played in a cabaret in Toronto for 6 months. And then I moved to Vancouver for a while. Couldn't catch fleas in Vancouver. So I phoned up Bob, who by this time was running Factory Theater, and I said, I'm screwed here. I can't get any work. Nobody's going to do my plays out here. And he said, well, I'll hire you, and you can come and work at Factory.
Why the story of For Goodbye Paris? Why the story of Robert McAlmon, Kay Boyle, Scott Fitzgerald, Buffy Glasgow? Why all these writers? Why was this what you were drawn to?
Well, John and I, so John, we talked about doing stuff, and eventually we did one little sort of show for a summer theater, right? And it was just a little three-hander, and but it was fun. We had fun, and then we both ended up kind of without a writing partner at around the same time, right? So we both said, well, let's do something together. I had read both Callahan's book and Buffy Glasgow's books, just in passing, because I was interested in the period. And I guess I'd started reading, years ago. I'd read when I was, had my Hemingway period, and I'd read Movable Feast, and so I was interested in that period. And obviously, I'd already done stuff set in Paris. But then, as we started to do more research, the story got bigger, right? And then we discovered the Kay and McAlmon story. Before you knew it, we had, 40 books we were looking at, right?
Yeah.
And everybody, virtually everybody in the play, and practically everybody who they hung out with wrote a book.
Yeah.
Right. So.
All literary geniuses together.
Yeah. We started, taking things from one book and another and another and another and piling them up, right? And then we ended up with this huge sprawling thing. I mean, it's like the story that we have in the play right now is one of probably 4 stories that we were all playing with at the same time, and it just got completely out of control.
So you just condensed it down to what we have now.
But what's happened over the years is we've been working on this thing for a really long time. We had started work on it, and then we did a workshop of it in Shaw, like 12 years ago, or 15 years ago. And I had like a first act, and I wrote a second act over the weekend because I knew we were going down there.
Touched it. Yeah. That was about 12 years ago.
Well, every other time, different times. And John was doing movies, and he was doing different things. So we'd pick it up and put it down, pick it up and put it down, pick it up and put it down. So a couple of years back, we had actually refined the story down to something that's fairly close to what we're doing. I did a crowd fundraising thing together and hired a cast of actors, and we did a concert version of it, and that was very useful. And we had they're all really good people, and we got to hear the music and see how it worked in front of an audience, but no action, no dance, none of those things. It's just people standing at mics, right? Then I started trying to hustle it around to theaters and get some attention to it, and it's very hard, especially a musical that's got a bit of size like this, very hard to get done in Canada. So suddenly 2 years go by. But somewhere along the way, about a year ago, I managed to get Ida interested.
Oh,
right?
Cool. Yeah. So she's been on the project for a while.
Well, yeah, she has.
In the project.
She was initial interest, but then she had just taken over Centaur Theater, right? So she was like completely immersed in that.
Yeah.
And sort of we'd talk on the phone, and she'd give us her thoughts about the current draft, and then we'd make some changes and send her some changes, and we'd talk again.
Yeah.
So it was sort of like that. So it was encouraging, and she's very insightful. She really knows her stuff. Forget the
you drop down. So make sure you keep room for her feet.
That gives you something to work. That's your little workout.
Yeah.
Wakes up. It's fun.
Here at my living room.
Would you like to? Would you want to do it one more time?
Yeah.
Sure. One more time.
The last couple days have been busy. Yesterday, the 9th, we finished blocking out all of Act 1, and then we did a stumble through of the entire first act, which went well. A few more script changes, a few more song changes. And then today, we started blocking the first half of the second act. One song had an entire chorus cut. There was a couple of the script changes. After that, I did some character work with one of the 2 assistant directors named Anthony. All in all, I think it was a successful second week. Now, I just got off work and some of the cast got together while I was there, and they're also hanging out, so I managed to get my coworker to pick up a bottle of Pernod for us. Pernod is a liqueur referenced on many an occasion in the play, in the musical. My character McCalman drinks it quite frequently in the first act, so I thought I'd buy a bottle. Oh, it just got real dark. I would buy a bottle and we would try it as a cast at this little get-together tonight. So I'm gonna keep walking there and hopefully have some fun. It just got so dark. There are no streetlights on the street. This is unsafe. Oh, apartment light.
Your turn to have the shaving scene in the video.
Oh, as in the vlog?
Yeah. Tune into next week's vlog to find out if he shaves into a mustache.
Okay. Oh God.